For 150 years, seismology has operated on one fundamental principle: earthquakes compress and release. They shake, crack, and settle. They don't lift entire landscapes skyward. But at 11:47 p.m. Afghanistan time, that principle died. What villagers in Kunar province experienced wasn't compression and release. It was systematic elevation. The ground beneath their homes, their mosque, their marketplace, all rising 23 centimeters in perfect unison. Satellite radar imaging confirms what survivors described: uniform uplift across 1,600 square kilometers. No cracks, no fissures, no random displacement patterns, just coordinated vertical movement as if the entire terrain was sitting on some massive underground platform. Dr. Elena Vasquez, chief seismologist with the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, has been analysing the data for 48 hours. Every earthquake model predicts lateral movement and subsidence, Vasquez told emergency coordinators. None predict synchronized uplift. None predicts cavity formation during seismic events. Yet that's exactly what ground-penetrating radar reveals: hollow spaces appearing beneath the uplift zones during each aftershock. Void networks expand with each tremor, creating structural weakness beneath populated areas. The aftershock sequence shows mathematical precision. Each tremor occurs at calculated intervals, each creates identical uplift patterns, and each adds more underground hollow space to a growing network. This isn't random geological behavior. This is a systematic geological modification. What mechanism can lift 1,600 square kilometers of terrain without surface cracking? What's constructing underground void networks during seismic events? And why are the aftershocks following a schedule that suggests something beneath Afghanistan is building toward a deadline? Afghanistan sits at a geological crossroads. The eastern provinces rest where the Indian plate continues its relentless collision with the Eurasian plate, creating one of Earth's most volatile seismic zones, the Hindu Kush mountain range. Since 1900, over 300 significant earthquakes have rocked this region. Most follow predictable patterns: lateral fault slippage, compression forces, surface ruptures, and gradual settling. The terrain shifts horizontally, cracks form, then everything settles back into uneasy equilibrium. In October 2023, the western province of Herat experienced what scientists called a geological rarity: 4 magnitude 6.3 earthquakes striking in sequence over just 1 week. Each tremor triggered the next through stress transfer along interconnected faults. Over 2,000 lives were lost, but even these devastating quakes followed standard seismic models. When the Hindu Kush mountains shake, they obey century-old geophysical rules. Until now. Dr. Karim Nabizadeh of the Afghanistan Geological Survey has spent 30 years monitoring regional fault lines. He says what we've documented defies classical plate tectonics. Normal earthquakes show compression at depth, horizontal displacement at the surface, and subsidence zones where the ground settles. This event shows something entirely different, something textbooks don't cover. The September 31st event began conventionally. At 11:47 p.m. local time, a magnitude 6.0 earthquake struck near Jalalabad at a standard depth of 8 kilometers. The intensity wasn't unusual for the region, but when satellite data arrived, 36 hours later, seismologists worldwide paused in disbelief. The scientific community has established clear expectations for earthquakes in the Hindu Kush range. When tectonic plates collide and stress reaches breaking point, energy is released through lateral displacement. The ground typically shifts horizontally by 5 to 15 centimeters, with some areas subsiding 2 to 8 centimeters. Surface effects include cracking, lateral faulting, and settling that lasts seconds to 1 or 2 minutes. The Afghanistan September 31st event broke every rule. Dr. Farid Hassan's seismic monitoring stations in Kabul recorded something unprecedented: negative vertical displacement followed by massive positive uplift. He said that in 30 years of monitoring Afghan earthquakes, he had never seen waveforms like this. The vertical vectors were so uniform, so synchronized. His first thought was equipment malfunction. But every station from Islamabad to Delhi showed identical readings. Compare standard earthquake mechanics with what happened on September the 31st. Normal displacement, horizontal movement 5 to 15 centimeters, downward subsidence 2 to 8 centimeters. Afghanistan event, uniform vertical uplift of 23 centimeters, no subsidence detected. Normal duration, seconds to 1 or 2 minutes of ground movement. Afghanistan event, 4 minutes of continuous coordinated uplift. Normal surface effects, random cracking, lateral faulting, chaotic displacement. Afghanistan event, no surface cracking, perfect circular uplift patterns. Normal aftershock pattern, decreasing frequency and magnitude over days. Afghanistan event, increasing precision with mathematical timing intervals. When the European Space Agency satellites completed their INSAR analysis, interferometric synthetic aperture radar capable of detecting millimeter-scale ground movement, the results forced a rethinking of Afghanistan's seismic profile. The data showed perfect circular elevation across 1,600 square kilometers, as though hydraulic jacks had been placed beneath the landscape and raised it with mechanical precision. Uniform. Even more baffling, faults that should have moved against each other were moving in coordinated unison. Coordinated. Dr. Elena Vasquez explains, INSAR does not lie. These readings show uniform uplift across fault zones that should be fracturing, not coordinating. This violates basic plate tectonics. Faults should break apart, not synchronize. Violates. But the most unsettling discovery came when ground-penetrating radar teams deployed to the uplift zones. They found what should not exist: hollow spaces directly beneath the raised terrain. Void networks that were not present in geological surveys conducted just months earlier. Cavities that appeared during the seismic sequence itself. Hollow. What goes up must come down. When 23 centimeters of elevation destabilizes mountain slopes already undermined by underground hollowing, gravity takes devastating control. Gravity. The village of Mazar Dara, population 1,200, sat on what satellite imaging identified as stable elevated terrain. What the imaging could not detect was the hollow void beneath the village. 50 meters beneath the village center. When the October 1st aftershock struck, the elevated ground became a collapsing platform. Ahmad Rashid, a village elder who survived, describes it. The ground was higher in the morning. We could see it. Our doorways were at different angles. By afternoon, the entire hillside was moving, not falling like rocks, sinking like something underneath had been removed. Within 72 hours of the main earthquake, the casualty reports showed an escalating crisis. Villages affected, 12. Complete burial, 3 villages, partial burial, 7 villages. Displaced persons, 56,000 plus. Confirmed deaths, 2,800 plus. Missing, 1,200 plus. But these landslides weren't typical earthquake aftermath. They weren't triggered by loose sediment or saturated slopes. They occurred because something underneath was literally disappearing. Ground-penetrating radar teams have now mapped over 40 distinct void chambers beneath the affected terrain. Hollow spaces ranging from 15 to 80 meters in diameter, all appearing during or immediately after seismic events. Dr. Michael Torres of the USGS explains why this defies geological understanding. We've catalogued void networks before, usually in karst limestone regions, where water erosion creates caves over millennia. But Afghanistan's eastern provinces aren't limestone. They're metamorphic rock, schist and gneiss that shouldn't develop cavities without external force. Something is creating these voids, and it's using seismic energy to do it. Even more concerning, these void networks aren't random. They form geometric patterns. They connect to each other through tunnel-like structures. And they're all positioned beneath populated settlements or critical infrastructure. Natural aftershock sequences follow statistical decay models, frequent tremors immediately after the main event, decreasing in number and strength over weeks. The Afghanistan sequence follows a different model, suggesting an unnerving pattern of deliberate timing. The aftershock timeline: main event, September 31st at 23:47, magnitude 6.0. 10 hours 28 minutes later, aftershock 1, October the 1st at 10:15, magnitude 4.8, 50 kilometers east, identical uplift pattern. 11 hours 8 minutes later, aftershock 2, October 1st at 21:23, magnitude 5.2, 75 kilometers northeast, identical uplift. 19 hours 3 minutes later, aftershock 3, October 2nd at 16:26, magnitude 4.3, 40 kilometers south, identical uplift. 29 hours later, aftershock 4, October the 4th at 21:26, magnitude 5.6, 1 kilometer from the epicenter, largest uplift 31 centimeters. Dr. Sarah Chen of the International Seismic Research Consortium points out increasing time intervals between events, expanding geographic distribution and escalating uplift magnitude. This is not stress release, this is sequential activation of a coordinated network. Statistical models run on this sequence calculate the probability of this timing pattern occurring naturally at less than 0.003%. These aftershocks are responding to each other across distances that should not allow mechanical stress transfer. When the magnitude 5.6 aftershock struck on October the 4th, Pakistani monitoring stations 200 kilometers away detected sympathetic tremors within 8 minutes. Not independent events. Responses. The acceleration timeline shows an alarming trend. Week 1, September 31st to October 7th. 4 significant aftershocks, average interval 27 hours, average magnitude 4.8, 8 void formations detected, week 2, October 8th to October the 14th, 7 significant aftershocks, average interval 18 hours, average magnitude 5.1, 15 void formations detected, week 3, October the 15th to October the 21st, 11 significant aftershocks, average interval 12 hours, average magnitude 5.3. 17 void formations detected. Dr. Chen explains this is not energy release, this is energy buildup. Each aftershock is stronger than probability models predict. Each uplift event creates more underground instability. The system is not winding down, it is winding up. The Hindu Kush mountain range is not a collection of separate fault lines. It is an interconnected system, a geological circuit where energy from one fault can trigger responses hundreds of kilometers away. The Afghanistan earthquake did not just shake the ground, it closed a switch that has been open for generations. Dr. Nabizada's monitoring systems show the fault network is communicating. He states that stress transfers are occurring at speeds that suggest pre-existing pathways. We are seeing domino tectonics. Each event sets up conditions for the next. But unlike previous sequences, this one is expanding geographically. This activation crosses international borders. Afghanistan. Primary uplift zones, 7. Void networks as detected, more than 40. Villages affected, 12. Cross-border fault activation, 6 systems. Pakistan. Sympathetic tremors detected, 23. Border region evacuations, 15,000 people. Fault systems showing stress increase. 4. India. Seismic wave detection, Kashmir to Delhi. Early warning systems activated, 8 regions. Cross-border coordination protocols, enhanced. By mid-October, regional authorities implemented evacuation protocols they will not discuss publicly. Communities were relocated under infrastructure improvement programs. Monitoring equipment was deployed at 3 times normal density. Emergency medical teams were positioned at forward response stations. A leaked internal memo displayed the true concern. Ground stability assessments indicate escalating collapse risk in void-affected zones. Recommend immediate relocation of populations within 5 kilometers radius of confirmed cavity networks. Public communication, minimize alarm. 3 weeks after the initial earthquake, the world's leading seismologists have more questions than answers. 4 fundamental mysteries remain. Mystery 1. The uplift mechanism. What force can lift 1,600 square kilometers with uniform precision? We know vertical displacement of 23 centimeters occurred in under 4 minutes. We do not know the source of coordinated upward force across fault zones that should move independently. Mystery 2. The void formation. How do hollow chambers appear in solid metamorphic rock during seismic events? We know more than 40 void structures were mapped, all formed during the earthquake sequence. We do not know the mechanism removing rock material or where that material went. Mystery 3. The network coordination. Why do aftershocks show mathematical timing patterns? We know each event occurs at precisely increasing intervals with expanding geographic reach. We do not know what controls the scheduling of seismic activation across the network. Mystery 4. The cross-border responses. How do fault systems more than 200 kilometers apart respond to each other within minutes? We know sympathetic tremors were detected across 3 countries following predictable signal propagation. We do not know the pathways allowing faster than normal stress transfer. Dr. Vasquez summarizes the scientific community's position. We're dealing with earthquake. Physics that don't match any model in our databases. Dr. Torres adds, the void networks suggest intentional engineering, but geology does not have intentions. Dr. Chen concludes, either our fundamental understanding of seismic mechanics is incomplete, or something beneath Afghanistan is behaving according to rules we have not discovered yet. What is clear, Afghanistan's earthquake sequence is not finished. The uplift zones continue expanding. The void networks keep growing. The aftershocks maintain their accelerating pattern. Current status as of video production date, days since main event, 23, total significant aftershocks, 27, current average interval, 9 hours and 15 minutes, largest, recent magnitude, magnitude 5.8, confirmed void chambers, 63, population in high-risk zones, 2.7 million, regional seismic alert level. Critical. Regional monitoring networks remain on maximum alert. Cross-border emergency protocols stay activated. And scientists continue analyzing data that challenges 150 years of earthquake science. Dr. Nabizadeh delivers the final assessment. Until we understand what is creating these void networks, what is coordinating the aftershock sequence, and what lifted the ground with such precision, we cannot predict what the system will do next. We can only monitor, evacuate, and prepare for possibilities our models say should not exist. The ground beneath Afghanistan rose 23 centimeters in 4 minutes. Entire villages now sit atop hollow chambers that did not exist a month ago. And every 9 hours, the Earth reminds us that this sequence is building towards something science cannot name yet. Until more data is released, the true mechanism behind Afghanistan's impossible earthquake remains unresolved. A stark reminder that even our most studied geological systems still hold secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Did you find this investigation into Afghanistan's mysterious earthquake phenomenon fascinating? Do not miss our upcoming deep dive into the world's most anomalous geological events. Subscribe to Earth Attacks now, hit that notification bell, and join us next week when we explore the bizarre magnetic anomalies detected beneath Antarctica's ice sheet. The truth lies beneath.